Imagine a scenario where you have two different managers. One says, "Good job." And the other one says, "Man, I noticed you stayed late the other night to work on that project last minute. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. It really means a lot to me and the team." That's the same workplace, same situation, but two completely different human interactions. Which one would you run through a wall for? I know my answer. It's not even close. Here's what most people don't know. When you receive genuine recognition, and not that generic, boring stuff, but genuine recognition, your brain releases both dopamine and oxytocin at the same time. And if you remember from school, dopamine is the reward chemical, and oxytocin is the bonding trust chemical. So that's one complement with two neurological responses happening at the same time. That's not motivational poster content like this. That's neuroscience. Today's Carnegie principle is 9 words. 9 words that, if you apply them correctly, will change every experience that you have with people around you. And not because you'll be more charismatic, and not because you'll be more entertaining, but because you'll start to do something that no one else seems to be doing consistently. Hey, I'm Mike Collins, and on this YouTube channel, I talk about personal finance and personal development. This is day 9 of my 30-day challenge of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And not just to read the book, but to actually apply it to real life with science behind it. Day 7 was listen more than you talk. Day 8 was talk about what matters to them. Today is what happens when you combine both of those principles and you want to go another level deeper. Because here's the question that nobody asks. Once someone feels heard, how do you make them feel valued? And Carnegie has a very specific answer for this. Carnegie writes, make a person feel important and do it sincerely. That's 9 words. That's really simple, right? But pay attention to the last 4 again, and do it sincerely. That's not a footnote, that's an entire operating system. And here's the distinction that Carnegie is drawing, and it matters more than what most people realize. Flattery is manipulation dressed up as kindness. It's vague, it's transactional, it's designed to get something. Recognition is observation converted into words. It's specific, it's earned, it literally costs you nothing except for your attention. One makes people feel used, and the other one makes people feel seen. And those are two completely different things. Now let's talk about what's happening in the brain when someone receives genuine recognition. When you receive a compliment, the ventral tegmental area, or the VTA, shows increased activity and releases dopamine. This is the same reward circuit that activates when you eat food you love or accomplish a goal you've been working toward. Here's what makes this remarkable. Research found that when people received either a compliment or cash, the ventral striatum responded almost identically to both stimuli. The brain processed genuine recognition the same way it processed money. Think about that. A specific, genuine compliment is received the same way that a financial reward is to our brain. And it goes deeper than that. Genuine appreciation also triggers oxytocin, the bonding and trust hormone. This is why a real compliment doesn't just make someone feel good in the moment. It literally builds trust between two people at a neurological level. Both giving and receiving compliments releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that helps us feel rewarded, motivated, and more connected. So when Carnegie wrote, make the other person feel important, he wasn't describing a social nicety. He was describing a neurological event. Here's a stat that surprised me, but at the same time, it really shouldn't have. Over 90% of people believe we should compliment each other more often. Over 90%. And yet we routinely underestimate the positive impact our praise actually has on people. So we just hold back and don't say anything. We think and assume,
Oh, they already know.
we think,
Oh man, this is gonna come across really weird if I say something.
or my personal favorite is we think
that they're focused on something, and I don't want to bother with them.
But here's 2 points. We wrongly assume that extroverted personalities don't need to hear our praise, or that someone is too distracted to even listen to us. We wrongly assume those 2 things because the fact is we all want recognition regardless of our personalities or the context. In a UK study, 78% of respondents said they would work harder if they received more recognition. 94% said recognition is critical to retaining talent. Here's the hard truth. Almost everyone wants more recognition, more praise, but no one is willing to give it. That's the gap. And it's an enormous opportunity because the bar is set extremely low. Now here's something I found genuinely fascinating, so just follow my thoughts along with this. Most people notice good things. They think them, they feel them, they just never say them out loud. Let's say you watch a coworker handle a really difficult conversation, and you think to yourself,
Man, they just handled themselves with so much grace and poise. That was awesome.
you never say anything. You watch a friend help someone in their desperate time of need, and you think, man, that was so giving of them, but you just move on. Or you watch your kid and you realize that they figured out something really difficult, and instead of saying, good job, buddy, you just play on your phone. Recognition only changes when it leaves your mind and comes out of your mouth. That's the entire thing. That's the whole principle. The thought in your head does nothing for the person it's about. Now, here's the bigger picture thing that is really starting to make sense with how Carnegie has his perspective. Carnegie believed that every person has one fundamental want. It's not wealth and it's not fame. It is the desire to feel important. Carnegie literally writes, the deepest urge in human nature is to be important. And here's what Carnegie understood. That desire does not get met by money, title, or status. It gets met in individual moments. Specific interactions where one person notices another and says, I see you, and what you do matters. This is why the series builds the way it does. Remembering someone's name, that was day 6, says you exist to me. Listening was day 7, says what you say matters to me. Talking about their interests was day 8, says who you are matters to me. Today's principle, make them feel important, sincerely, says all 3 things at once. Out loud, explicitly. It's the full sentence after 9 days of learning the individual words. Now here's the part that you guys all love and enjoy, the real world test that I've been doing for the past week. Every time I notice something genuinely good about someone, I said it out loud, which is kind of dangerous. And it was more than just like good job. It was actually descriptive.
I really appreciated how patient you were in that conversation. That's not easy and you handled it really well.
I noticed how much work you put into that, and it shows.
The way you show up for people around you. I don't think you hear this enough, but it's kind of incredible.
What happened surprised me a little. People didn't get arrogant about it. They didn't even get weird about it. They got warmer, more open, more relaxed in the conversation of just 2 people talking. Verbalizing thoughts of appreciation and gratitude activates the prefrontal cortex, responsible for positive emotions and decision making. The more we practice expressing appreciation, the more we activate these gratitude circuits in the brain. Over time, it takes less effort to stimulate those pathways. This literally means that it gets easier the more that you do it. You're literally rewiring your brain to notice what other people are overlooking. Now here's my warning, and this is where most people end up messing up. They treat recognition as a tactic. And you know the people that I'm talking about. I've had the managers, I've had the CEOs, I've had the family members that do this. And they think if I compliment someone, they'll like me. And let's be honest, that's manipulation with a bow on it. And people feel it immediately. A hollow compliment does not land. And it literally makes people slightly more suspicious of you moving forward. I need to reemphasize, the goal is not to get more people to like you. The goal is to become the kind of person who notices the good in others and actually has the courage to say it out loud. The likability factor, that's a byproduct. It comes when the recognition is real. Recognition isn't fluff, it's biological fuel. The brain thrives on being seen, valued, and appreciated, but only when it's true. Now here's the challenge. One person, today, it could be a coworker, a friend, a loved one, or a cashier that's having a really rough day. Find one thing that they do specifically well, something that you genuinely noticed, and tell them, and see what happens. If you want people to feel important, don't invent compliments. Notice what everyone else is overlooking. Then say it out loud. That's day 9. 9 words. An enormous amount of neuroscience backing him up once again. And one challenge that costs you absolutely nothing except for your willingness to notice and open up to others. Drop a comment below. What's the best compliment you've ever received? I would love to know. If you like this video, please click the like button and hit subscribe for future content. I'm Mike Collins, and I'll see you on day 10. Stay consistent out there.